what I usually say to people is that unless you're a vegetarian, unless you're a vegetarian, there's pretty much nothing in here that we wouldn't eat. It's based on fine quality mincemeat. Then we add olive oil, raw eggs, glucagon or glucose powder, porridge, baby porridge, unprocessed bran, vitamin E powder and calcium powder. Then we make it up into like a patty, and then just before we feed it out, we mix it up with some water so it's sloppy and dewy. And in a second, you'll see why it's good to have it sloppy and dewy. Come on, Spikey boy. There you go, mate. Your tongue that long? No, actually the tongues of echidnas are very long. In fact, they're 1/3 of their total body length. Yeah. Now they've come across some deceased old timers and they've done research autopsies on those guys, and they've had tongues of 14 and 17 centimetres in length. So you're talking big echidna. Wow. Very big echidna. Now Spike here, he's only about 9-10 years old, so he's still got a lot of growing to do. Not only is that tongue very long, as you can see, it's also very supple and flexible. They seem to be able to bend and flick and twist it in just about every direction all at once. And it's also very, very quick. Yeah. When they're in a feeding frenzy, oh no, he's only about half speed at the moment. They can actually flick that tongue in and out about 100 times a minute when they're really going for it. Yeah. Food hits the tongue and back inside the mouth. So they're pretty cool little tongues and mouths. Yeah, do you want to give them a little pat?
Is he soft or is he spiky?
Well, it depends which way you go, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think, Karen? What do you feel like?
Yeah, if you go that way, it's spiky. But you have to put a hole. The two's in torpor at the moment. That's right. Look, spike, you don't have to climb in it, mate. There's got a reason for those claws.
Because the back feet look like they're going backwards.
Oh, don't you start. Oh, I nearly had a stand-up argument with a woman here one day that Mother Nature got it wrong on the side of his head. See that little slit there? Can you see his ear? There. That's his ear. Yeah. That little gap there, that's his ear. Now echidnas are really hard to sneak up on because they've got very, very good hearing. Very good hearing. But unfortunately, when you only have tiny little eyes, especially to find their food, they can see well enough to move around, but they don't use their eyesight to find their food. Because echidnas have got a really special trick. Now this thing here, that's not called a nose, and it's not called a snout, it's called a beak. Because that's actually bone. It's just an extension of the skull, exactly the same as on a bird. So that's why it's referred to as a beak. Now on the end of Spike's beak, and all echidnas have got the same, they have these things called electroreceptors. Now if you happen to have electroreceptors, you can pick up those electrical impulses. Now a lot of people don't realise, but about half the termite mounds that you come across out in the bush are actually inactive. There's no termites in them. The termites have exhausted the food supply, moved camp, starting to build a new mound. Now, echidnas love termites and ants, but they don't need to waste time digging a hole in the side of the termite mound to find out if there are any ants in there or not. What they do, they go up to the termite mound and they hold the beak up in front of it like that. And if they pick up those electrical impulses, they know lunch is just on the other side, so they start to dig. No impulses, they don't bother digging, they move on to the next one. Okay? And that's where the funny feet come in. When they do get those impulses, they use their big, powerful claws to break a hole in the side of the mound. And then they stick their beak in, and that's where their tongue comes into action. It just flicks in and out along those termite tunnels really, really quickly, picking up all those termites that are in there and having a good feed. Wow.